Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to review Azul Ashengrotto from the Twisted Wonderland series. This Zoom came out in February 2024 and has a drop rate of 40% during the new lucky time in February, or the first one I mean. The ability description for Azul Ashengrotto is that he's going to clear Zooms in the shape of an X and in a vertical line. This game demonstration that you're currently watching right now is a skill level 1 game demonstration. So let's take a look at his stats. In order for you to activate his ability, you're going to need to clear a total of 17 copies of him off the screen, and that's going to be the highest one out of the 3 new Zooms that came out this month. The minimum score is 110 with a maximum score of 845, so the minimum score is pretty high but has a pretty low maximum score, so unfortunately you wouldn't be using Azul Ashengrotto for score. And if you would like to get him to skill level 6, you're going to need to get a total of 32 copies of him from the premium box or use skill tickets. So unfortunately, Azul Ashengrotto is probably the worst one out of the 3, but by no means is he terrible. He's just average. He's not amazing, but he's also not that bad. So if you have some coins saved up and you want to invest in the lucky times, now might be a good time for that. So let's take a look at his skill chart. At skill level 1, the skill range is going to be extra small, and this skill range is in reference to both the X shape as well as the vertical clear, so it applies to both the X shape and the vertical clear. And by the way guys, if you're enjoying this type of content where I review Zooms, do monthly leaks, and go over the selection box and pickup capsule, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your subscription really helps me out a lot. I also created a Discord server where other players of Tsum Tsum gathers to talk about the game, ask for help, share coins, and also share hearts. So if you're interested and is looking for a community to talk about the game and play together with other people, you can scan this QR code to join the Discord server, and I'll also leave a link in the description below as well if you want to use the link to join instead. Okay, so back to Azul Ashengrotto. He's a very easy Zoom to use and is very beginner friendly. The strategy to using this Zoom essentially is just to make sure the entire screen is full of Zooms before you activate the ability. By doing that, you'll be able to maximize the amount of chains that you'll get per ability. Notice that the screen does freeze on the initial animation, so before you hit that ability button, you'll want to make sure that in the cross X shape that the entire area has a lot of Zooms, therefore you'll be able to maximize the chain for that X clear. Now for the vertical clear, you can't really do anything about that. The only thing you can really do is make sure that there are no bubbles on the screen before you activate the ability. You're always going to end up with one magic bubble that will get in the way of the vertical clear, and that's because of the X-shaped burst. Well, that will generate a magic bubble there. What I also want to show you guys is a side-by-side comparison of the abilities activated at the same time, so we can actually see what's actually happening here. So the initial burst, again, it's going to be in the X shape, and this is the one where you can actually prepare for, unlike the vertical clear. So it's very simple. You just want to make sure that the entire screen has a lot of Zooms, but in this case, because the characters here do block the way, you can't really see what's on the screen. But it is bigger at skill level 3 compared to skill level 1. And we can see that with the results here after I resume the gameplay here. Skill level 1, I got a chain of 16. Skill level 2, I got a chain of 18. And skill level 3, I got a chain of 22. So you definitely want to set up the screen by making sure that the entire screen is full of Zooms and there are no bubbles on the screen prior to activating the ability. After the X shape is made, there will be a magic bubble that's made, and that's why you'll see here that there's always going to be one magic bubble that will get in the way. However, the vertical clear, you can't really prepare for that, but as you can see here, it is a little bit bigger at skill level 3 compared to skill level 1, and it's honestly a little bit hard to tell between the size of the 3 because they're relatively close on how many chains they got. At skill level 1, I got a chain of 16, skill level 2, I got a chain of 18, and at skill level 3, I got a chain of 21. So because we are able to see the amount of chains, we could tell, but in full speed, it's a little hard to tell because there's only a difference of 2 to 3 Zooms on the screen. And then if you have that one magic bubble on the screen, you can save that magic bubble to get back into fever time. But if your ability bar gets charged up right after that, you definitely want to burst the bubble before activating the ability. This is one of the Zooms where you don't want to spam the ability button for the overcharge effect. This is one of those Zooms where it's better to wait a couple of seconds before activating the ability to make sure that you maximize the earning potential from your ability. Moving on to skill level 4, 5, and 6. So now that the skill ranges are a little bit bigger, at skill level 4 the skill range is going to be large, extra large for skill level 5, and extra large for skill level 6. So with that in mind, it's more important than ever at these higher skill level that you make sure that you set up your screen properly, because the skill range is bigger, you're going to get a lot more burst per game. The strategy for these higher skill level is the same, with the exception that you want to pay a little bit more attention to what your screen setup is. And before you activate those abilities, you want to make sure that there are no bubbles that's going to get in the way. There are some safe zones where it's safe to have bubbles though, and that's on the left center area, on the right center, and that's pretty much it. Anything that's in the center middle area is going to block that vertical clear, so you don't want anything there. But because the vertical clear isn't going to impact the sides and the X shape doesn't touch the center left and center right area, it's okay to have a bubble there. But other than that, you don't want to have any bubbles anywhere else because they do minimize the chain that you're going to get every single time you activate an ability. So let's take a look at the abilities activated at the same time at these higher skill level. The difference here is that every single line that gets cleared is going to be a lot thicker, so let's take a look. I also decided not to slow down the X shape because the X shape, you can't necessarily see it too well, so I didn't pause it there, but I did show you the results from the X clear. At skill level 4, I got a chain of 26, 29 for skill level 5, and for skill level 6, I got a chain of 31. And when you're comparing it to skill level 1, 2, and 3, you can clearly see that the X shape does change in size as you level up the skill level. And the same thing happens for the vertical clear as well, and you'll be able to see the thickness here. But I think for this specific gameplay or this ability, for as an example, I got the same amount for skill level 5 and skill level 6. At skill level 5, I got a chain of 22, and for both skill level 5 and skill level 6, I got a chain of 27. And that happens sometimes, but skill level 6 on average is a lot thicker than skill level 5. So overall, I think Azul Ashengrotto is a very easy Tsum to use for beginners. However, you wouldn't necessarily be using him as a primary coin earner, and you also wouldn't be using him as a combo or chain or even score maker. So for that reason, Azul Ashengrotto is not necessarily assumed that you must go out and get. However, based on the engagement that I saw on Discord and on the line group, that a lot of people are very excited about the entire Twisted Wonderland series, so you might want to just go out and get one copy of him so that way you can add him to your collection, and then in the future, if you decide to level him up, you can. But from a functionality perspective, you wouldn't necessarily need to get Azul Ashengrotto to a higher skill level. So let's take a look at the results that I got for all 6 of these gameplays. At skill level 1, I ended up with a coin earnings of 1,589, so not that amazing for skill level 1, and this Tsum doesn't become available for 5-4 and coin boost until skill level 4, and even at that, I only ended up with 2,924 coins, which is very close to what I got for skill level 5, which is 3,061. And if you take a look at the score earning potentials here, none of them are really that amazing. Even at skill level 6, I only ended up with 12.1 million points, and with the coin earnings of 4,106, it's nothing amazing where you gotta go out and get this Tsum. So that's my review of Azul Ashengrotto. I hope that you guys found this video helpful or at least entertaining, and if you would like to see more Tsum Tsum content just like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.